You, a genius? You bet you are. You're probably just looking in the wrong place. Welcome to the Authority Journey podcast. Achieving your most audacious goals doesn't happen by accident. Explore the authority journey and what it takes to influence, lead, and succeed. My name is Kathryn Aragon, and I am your host for today's episode, Finding Your Inherent Genius. Years ago, Robin Williams broke into the industry. He was on, where did I first see him? Mork and Mindy is where I used to watch him in a 30-minute serial, and he was brilliant. We had never seen such comic genius, and that's exactly what he had, comic genius. But Robin Williams always had wanted to be a Shakespearean actor. He wanted to do dramatic acting, not necessarily comedy. Now, I haven't gone and researched, so you can go look it up if you like, but you'll notice that as he got into the apex of his career, he started doing more drama, more serious roles. He was moving away from his natural genius, that quick-witted comedy where, oh my goodness, he would just make your hair blow back because it just came so fast and furious. That comedy was where he shone. That was his genius. That's not to take anything away from the dramatic acting he did, but where he stood out, where no one could compete, was in comedy. Now let's contrast that with Will Ferrell. He is just as funny and just as, oh my goodness, just to watch him become the character and so straight-faced, delivering the funniest pictures and images, the acting that he does. He has his own brand of comedic genius. It's not Robin Williams, but it is Will Ferrell, and it is brilliant. But here's the thing. He doesn't resist. He owns it. He leans into this aspect of himself. He doesn't try to do anything other than his own genius. That's what so many of us forget. We have this vision of what we want to do. The destination for our authority journey might not actually match our own natural genius. So it's really important that we look at where we want to be and what we can do without even thinking about it and make sure they sync. When I started my career, I wanted to be a fiction writer. I wanted to write novels, and never mind the fact that I didn't have a role model, I didn't have any coaching, I had no idea what I was doing. Never mind that. I had been reading fiction from the time I could hold a book, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to tell stories like that. Well, straight out of college, I started a children's story. I was going to write for ages 8 to 12, which is a really fun type of book. I love, even now, I love a good creative story aimed at that age group. And it was a great story. I actually finished it, and I had no clue how to edit it. One of these days I may go back and edit it. But when I went back and read it, it was so boring. My natural giftedness is not with writing fiction. Maybe it's in there. Maybe I haven't learned the process. I've learned the process of writing nonfiction. Maybe I just need to learn that process. But notice, it's not natural. It's something that I would have to go back, regroup, relearn, start at zero from to become good at it. I'm not naturally gifted at it. On the other hand, writing nonfiction, taking these ideas that are always going up here, to be in my head, right? And turning those into messages that can inspire and motivate and help people learn things, that's my genius. That's my natural giftedness. Now, that's not pride speaking, because you have your genius too. I want you to own that. I don't ever want you to resist saying, this is my genius, because you have it, and it is not proud. It's not prideful to know what you're good at. I want you to know what you're good at, and I want you to be willing to tell the world, no, I'm good at this. You can also tell them I'm not good at that. I'm telling you I'm not great at writing fiction. probably not even good. I'm good at writing nonfiction. That's my giftedness. Sharing what I know, being able to distill it and teach it, that's my giftedness. What's yours? Today's episode is about finding your genius and owning it, so you don't ever feel bad about what you're doing, so you don't ever wonder where you're going, so you can look at your authority journey and map it out more clearly. Now, let's look at Robin Williams and even me trying to be a fiction writer when that's obviously not my giftedness, right? There are some things going on there. First, there's a lot of judgment, and I see this a lot when somebody will sit back and they will make a judgment about different levels within their industry. So let's say, okay, I'm a writer, and I judge that fiction writing, that's the epitome. That's where I need to be, because if I'm going to be the best, I need to be that. That's a judgment. And what it does is it makes any other choice seem like a failure, seem like it's less than, when that's not the truth at all. There are so many different brands of writer. There's the copywriter, there's the content writer, there's the textbook writer, there is the blogger. Think about all, and then, not just the writer, you have the editor, the person who goes back and turns those words into magic. We have so many levels of writing, so many types of directions you can go if you want to be a writer. Why does there need to be any judgment involved? Why can't you just be good at one of them and not at another? Stop judging. We need to not judge whether comedy or drama is better. We don't need to judge whether fiction or nonfiction is better. Neither is better. Neither is worse. They're just two different directions you can go. Which is better for you? Which fits your giftedness? Which fits your genius? There's another thing going on here. Not just judgment. There's also this idea of commitment and consistency. Having committed from the time I was little bitty that I wanted to write books, that was a commitment to myself that I needed to stay consistent with for many, many years. We're wired to do this. Once we say something, it is our desire to be consistent. Otherwise, we feel like we can't be trusted. We're being wishy-washy, that someone might judge us for not being consistent. Be aware that may be a bent that we have, that may be an inclination we have, but there's no truth in it. Other people might say, oh, but I thought you said you wanted to be a fiction writer. And I can just as easily say, yes, I did. But then I realized I am so much better at this other thing. I switched gears and I realized, wow, not only am I good at this, I enjoy it. And I want to have a life I love. So here I am. You see how easy that is? There is no explaining you need to do. Actually, it's nobody's business unless you choose to tell them. If anybody were to challenge you because you shifted gears, who the flip cares? It is none of their business. So these things that many times hold us back from stepping into our genius, the judgment from ourselves and from others, commitment and consistency, we need to throw those out the window. Those should never have a say in what direction we take our lives and our careers. I give you permission right now, your permission slip to change your destination. That's what I'm giving you right now. I have done it multiple times. I told you this first one was when I switched from wanting to be a fiction writer to actually being a business writer. For me, that was a big shift. And it went against everything I said I wanted to do. So I had to regroup the way I thought about myself, the things I now focused on, the books I was reading, the sources that I went to for information so I could start building my skill in this new area. It changed everything. But it was a good change. It was the right change because it took me closer to my genius, not further away from it. Not sitting in this pool over here that's kind of muddy and it's like, it's not great. Where there's this crystal pool over here that I could be sitting in and actually like progressing. You see the difference? Your life will be better if you give yourself permission to change gears every now and then. Now, it is possible that Robin Williams felt like his genius was dramatic acting, in which case, more power to him. Maybe what he was doing, this just occurred to me, and there's some truth in this. Maybe he was shifting gears to find his genius. I think the rest of the world just looked at him, though, and was like, okay, yes, you're great. You're great at the dramatic acting, but we love you. You are so original and so unique and so powerful as a comic. I think we need to listen to those moments. My birthday was just recently, and my son called me up, and I am working on some new projects, and he gave me some really good feedback. I love it when my family members will speak into and just kind of give me feedback on my ideas, because I have lots of ideas, and sometimes it helps to have other people say, you know what, that's a good idea, go for it. He told me about a time that he had a friend come spend the night at the house. And I don't remember where he was, but there was this moment where his friend and I were hanging out in the den. He had been watching TV, and I came into the room, and we just started chatting. And we chatted, I don't know how long, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. Later on, my son comes back to me, and his friend had told him, wow, I just had this chat with your mom, and I've got my whole life figured out. And my son tells me, coaching is exactly where you need to be. You have always been so good at it. People take away so much when they talk to you. That was such great feedback. So I have this area of genius that's been untapped for years because I didn't realize that maybe there's some genius there. You see what's going on? You probably have pockets of genius in your life that you are completely unaware of. Now, why is that? Why is it? Because it's too easy. We value things that are hard. If we have to work hard for something, we're like, look at me, I am hot stuff. I'm so smart. I figured this thing out. And there is truth to that. I will give you that. I believe in hard work. I believe in figuring hard things out. I believe in not holding back just because something's hard. But there are areas of your life where you can just close your eyes and breathe and something happens. That's genius. And that's the thing that we resist because we're like, that's not valuable. Anyone can do that. No, no, no. Not anyone. You. That's your area of genius. And you need to lean into that. You need to find that thing or those things. Sometimes it's more than one because they're clusters of genius. Don't judge other people. Look for those places in your own life. Don't judge those things in yourself or in others. You need to find those areas that just seem too easy. Where do people come to you for help, and where do they walk away going, wow, that was amazing? Because we look at Robin Williams' comedy and go, wow, that's amazing. And he was like, but I want to be doing this. No, listen to the people who speak into your life and tell you, no, you're gifted here. Stay here. What could you stand up and do right now? Like, let's say talk about it for 15 minutes off the cuff, and people would go, whoa, that's pretty good. Thanks for sharing. That's probably around your area of genius. Something that you're just so comfortable with, that you know so much about, that you think about on the side so much that it just comes out of you. You can just riff on it. That's probably a pocket of genius for you. So here's what I want you to realize. There is no right path. There is no path that's better or worse than another. But you do have to know yourself. You have to know where things are easy for you. Where can you run while other people are crawling? Because it's just so easy for you. Go ahead and lean into that area. Don't be ashamed of how good you are. I've actually seen a lot of that. People are afraid to be good because they know it makes other people uncomfortable to be left behind. But that's your genius. Do it. Lean into it. And be honest and objective. Here's the deal. There are things you are good at, and there are things you are not good at. This is why I get upset when I see other people judging other people. Because we judge people who aren't as good as we are at our thing. And then other people judge us for not being as good as they are at their thing. What is that about? All of us are good at our own thing, and we should revel in that and let somebody else be good at what they're good at. We should not all look alike anyway. We don't all have the same strengths. We should not all be doing the same thing. And even if we are doing something similar, we should all be doing it in our own way, tapping into our own unique genius. This is what I want you to do. Be honest with yourself. Where are you good? Where are you bad? Where should you just I should not even go there. Be objective with yourself. There are so many things that you could do with your life. And I love this. I know a guy who he loves throwing parties. He actually created a business around throwing parties. Where your genius lies, and he's a connector. He's someone who loves people. That is where his genius lies. So he created a business around it. We're going to talk more about that in another podcast. But that's the thing we're talking about. Something that seems so easy to him might not be easy for someone else. Filling a room full of people, making sure everyone's having a great time, putting someone on stage and showcasing them, and making sure everybody goes home going, wow, what a night. That was awesome. I'm coming back next month. That's his genius. I would never dream of doing that business because it's not where my genius lies. You've got to figure out where yours lies. Where do people come to you and say, hey, can we talk? I want help with this. And I see you as someone who's got something to give in this area. Where do people come to you and say, you know what? You do this differently from anybody else, but it's cool. Where do you get results that nobody else gets results? Where do you find things easy that other people don't find easy? And you're just like, why is it? It's easy as pie. Why can't you do it? Don't judge them. Just understand and accept that you may have found a pocket of your own genius. I use that word a lot right in this episode because I really want you to understand how amazing you are. There is something you do that nobody else does. And I don't want you to feel like that's weird or like it means you're less than on any level. There is something that you do that nobody else does. And yes, it does make that unique, but you should step into the uniqueness. Step away from the pack. Let it shine. Don't try to hide it so you'll fit in. Because the truth is, nobody truly fits in. Every one of us has some weirdness about us. The trick is, it's not weirdness. It's our genius. It's the thing that makes us valuable. And we should be cultivating it and sharing it with the people around us. Because that's how we build a world that's worth living in. Is each of us leaning into our own strengths and sharing it with the people around us. Imagine if you did that, and the person next to you did that, and the person across the street, and the neighbor down the street. Imagine how it could transform the world if all of us did that. I want you to find your inherent genius, and I want you to lean into it, and I want you to develop it, and I want you to use it for good, not for evil. We do not go to the dark side here. The authority journey is about finding your thing. It's about figuring out how to make it the center of your life, something valuable that you can build a life around and actually pursue. That's going to give you happiness. It's going to make you content with your life. It's going to help you feel like you have a purpose, but you have to find it first. So do some digging. Look at your life. Look at what you're good at. Look at what you love, what makes you happier than anything else. That's probably a pocket of genius, and I want you to pull it out and step into it. I'm Kathryn Aragon. I've enjoyed sharing this with you today. Visit me on KathrynAragon.com or on solopreneurlife.com, and be sure to like this episode of the Authority Journey podcast. Go ahead and follow us so you get our weekly episodes. And until then, stay awesome.